The new champions arrived in Tel Aviv last September. A visit to the historic city of Jerusalem was a highlight of the trip. The players saw and experienced many places that previously had been names in the Bible. Jerusalem is a city over 4,000 years old. The impact of the city's history, the culture, the antiquity is immediate. It is a city once divided by walls that is now a melting pot, a sacred city to three religions, Muslims, Jews, and Christians. Business is transacted in the marketplace through bargaining. There's no set price. And Mitch Kupchak of the Bullets distinguished himself at making good deals.
22 and 15. That's it, I'm leaving.
Completely wrong. I cannot,
no.
Because it cost me more, believe me. And here is 15.65.
Wait.
Excuse me, madam. Excuse me. Please. Give me 10. This?
$10, $8. $8.
$10.
$8.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, 8.
Here's Greg Ballard looking good. For thousands of years, people of the Middle East have traveled by camel, but never had the camels shouldered such a load as when they carried some of the biggest men in professional sports. During their visit, the Bullets followed the last footsteps of Jesus along the Via Dolorosa and the 14 stations where he stopped. The Bullets later visited the Wailing Wall, a remaining remnant of the historic Herodian temple, 4,000 years old.
And watch the shepherds in the valleys, for peace is there.
It's tradition to place notes of prayer and wishes in crevices in the Wailing Wall. Another unforgettable moment was at Yad Vashem, a memorial to the 6 million Jews who perished in the Holocaust of the last World War. After a 3-month break following the NBA title last spring, the Bullets warmed up with the children of the kibbutz. A visit and a swim in the Dead Sea. Because of the high salt content of the water, even men like 250-pound Wes Unseld floated without effort. The highlight of the Bullets' visit for Israelis was the game between the NBA champions and the Maccabi Tel Aviv team, the Israeli champions. The game itself gave the nation of Israel an enormous emotional lift because the Bullets' visit coincided with the Camp David summit talks. It was a time of great apprehension and anxiety. The arena was packed, tickets were at a premium, and the rest of the country of 3.5 million people watched on television. Israel literally came to a halt the night the Bullets played Maccabi Tel Aviv. The game was played under international rules. Zone defenses are legal, the foul lines are wider. The games can get unusually rough. At halftime, Maccabi had a 54-45 lead. The Bullets' 3-month break in training showed. The Israeli team was honed to a fine edge for the biggest game Maccabi had ever played. Mr. and Mrs. A. Pollen weren't smiling at this point, and Kevin Greavy took a rap on the head. Wes Unseld follows one up for the Bullets, but in the end, Maccabi Tel Aviv held on to beat the Bullets by a point, 98-97. A victory that excited an entire country, if not the Washington Bullets. The Bullets closed out their week-long visit at a nightclub in Tel Aviv to the familiar strains of Hava Nagila. At the Kingdome in Seattle, the score at halftime, the Seattle Supersonics 40, the Milwaukee Bucks 40. The NBA on CBS will return after this word from your local station. All right.
Dear Great Pumpkin.
They're back. All the Little Peanuts characters in a happy Halloween special. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Monday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
This is CBS.
Good. It's called. Be sure and eat the pie he sent. There's a white chick across the way ready to. Oh, boy.
Oh, he's gone crazy now. He's through with it.
Bring it on over. Back at the Kingdome in Seattle, there's our halftime numbers, 40-40, Seattle and Milwaukee. This is Don Cricky with Steve Jones. Steve, around the league now, you've had a chance to see a lot of teams. It looks like Denver is doing a big job with George McGinnis. He's kind of tied that team together. A lot of people thought they might have a problem with him.
Well, Don, you know, Denver's always been a well-coached team. Larry Brown's always done a good job in that respect. They got George McGinnis. He's become the man. He's got himself a team again. He was lost at Philadelphia with the arrival of Julius Erving. He had to split that duty. He's got it all by himself now. He's the team leader, and that's what Denver needs.
How about the redhead, Bill Walton? Where is he? What's he doing?
Man, he may be over in Egypt somewhere, but no, he's back in the States.
Grateful Dead.
I saw him down in Los Angeles, and he thinks he'll be ready to play around the 1st of February, and if that's the case, he'll have to play for the Portland Trailblazers.
How do you think the players around the league, Steve, feel about the third official now? I don't think it's had a marked effect on this game. There have been a whole lot of whistles, but I think the apprehension coming in was that third guy would be blowing that horn a lot.
Well, they had a lot of whistles early in the exhibition, and they seem to have adjusted to the play now, and so everyone is just playing their game. I think players adjust to officiating, and that's what they expected to see. And most players are just playing basketball now, and they're just going to have to work their way around the other officials.
Okay, the score here at halftime at Seattle is the Milwaukee Bucks 40, the Seattle Supersonics 40. The first half scoring leader, Marcus Johnson of the Bucks with 16 points.
It's a day for living, it's just beginning, and good times are on the line. It's a Pepsi generation, come on! Today's your day to shine. Come on, come on, come on, and have a Pepsi day. Come on, come on, come on, and taste the Pepsi way.
Remember me. I'm the box of baking soda you left in the refrigerator. Back then, I could really absorb those food odors.
Onion power.
Oh, if a new box doesn't show up soon, a lot of food's gonna get spoiled.
Uh-oh. We're saved! You foods are gonna keep your smells to yourselves.
Party Cooper! If you can't remember the last time you changed the baking soda, it's probably time to change it again.
Any last words?
What took you so long?
Budget Rent-A-Car is the fastest growing major car rental company in the world. Maybe it's their great rate.
I hear the reservation system is really fast.
They do seem to have locations wherever you need them. Like right over there.
Well, if there's one there, what are we doing here?
Get to know Budget, and you'll know what we're doing to make us the fastest growing major car rental company in the world.
Budget features Lincoln Mercury and other fine cars. For reservations, see your travel consultant or call our toll-free number.
Get that rhythm. Get that rhythm. Get ready. Shoot the ball. That's my man.
Okay, Dave, you get that rhythm down, Dave. Get that rhythm down. Get ready to shoot that ball.
Elvin Hayes and the NBA are volunteers for Special Olympics.
That's my man.
You can help a special athlete, too. Write Special Olympics, Washington, D.C.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Basketball Association. Halftime, Seattle 40, Milwaukee 40. Kingdom in Seattle as both teams are coming off the floor. A little bit earlier, Fred Brown, after a poll was taken of the 26 NBA coaches, was determined to be by acclamation the best sixth man in the league, and he got an award. Lovely young lady.
Well, Fred Brown, he's a tough clutch man, and he's a guy every coach would like to have coming off that bench putting that ball up.
Now we'll review the Sonics scoring. Mr. Brown with 11, Jack Sikma with 11. Dennis Johnson hit 10, and John Johnson 4, Lagarde and Snyder 2 apiece. Haven't seen Gus Williams doing much yet. Milwaukee Bucks, Marcus Johnson, the NBA's leading scorer, coming in with that 31-point-a-game average and a 59% shoot from the floor. With 16, Benson 8, Grunfeld 6 off the bench, Buckner and Ginelli with 4, Van Leer with 2 in a good floor game.
Well, somewhere is a missing person. Brian Winters has not scored. Put up 10 shots, hasn't got one down. Bridgman, his replacement, put up 2. He hasn't gotten any down. The shooting percentage is nothing to write home about. They're putting up new baskets, and maybe that'll help Bridgman, Winters, and a few of the others out. Both teams shooting poorly. 33% for Milwaukee, 34% for Seattle. That's not good shooting, but it is a close and exciting game.
No, that kind of shooting did not wear out a net. Something else must have gone wrong.
That was all that stuff in it.
Here is Marcus Johnson, who has it all. College Player of the Year at UCLA, now in his second year in the NBA. And a spectacular second season. It's begun with a 31-point-a-game average. Johnson 6'7", 218 pounds, does it all.
Well, Johnson did not have a bad rookie season. He lost out
at
Rookie
all.
of the Year to Walter Davis. Walter Davis came back and said, I was Rookie of the Year. Marcus Johnson was Rookie of the Year of the playoffs. And Johnson really came to the front in the playoffs last year. He really played strong against Denver.
Yes, he did. There's Ed Middleton ready to put the ball in play. As we'll start the second half now. Seattle get the basketball. In the backcourt, Gus Williams, who's not scored either. 2 starting guards in this game. Williams of Seattle, Brian Winters of Milwaukee. No points yet.
No shots down. 0 for 15 between them.
And here is Johnson and Gus Williams in the backcourt. Lagarde is up front with Sikma and John Johnson. Marcus Johnson, Kent Benson, John Ginelli, Quinn Buckner, and Brian Winters from Milwaukee. A reject by Marcus Johnson.
Well, you can't take that cheap stuff in on a leaper, and Johnson, he went right up and put it right back at John Johnson. He's got the ball in trying to get them a basket.
Roger McCann, that big official in there, the third man, flew out with him on the plane. Stewardess asked him if he was done eating. He said, only if there are no seconds. Roger can get it done if he's... Here is Lagarde coming across the lane. He now has 4.
He has 4, and that's his first field goal.
And it's 42-40.
Well, Brian Winters has a wrap on his leg. I'd have some kind of an excuse if I were 0 for 10 too.
Brian Winters now fires, and that wrap's working. Leg as well, and Brian Winters hits his first field goal, ties the game at 42. Kind of a slow tempo here, Steve, as we open up the third quarter.
Well, both teams trying to get a little set stuff going, but Seattle again wants to run. They will try and put the ball up and invite Milwaukee to put it up.
And now Gus Williams, who did not score to the first 2 quarters, also gets his first field goal of the night, and the Sonics take a 2-point lead. Milwaukee came into the game wanting to keep it slow, wanting to set up an offense, hoping to slow down the Seattle running game. Seattle can just blow a team out once they get moving. Marcus Johnson underneath does not get the rebound. Sikma does. Johnson leads to Gus Williams. In on Brian Winters. Williams maintaining possession with the fake and the bucket. He has 2 now, and that's the difference in the 3rd quarter as the Sonics lead by 4.
Well, Seattle's looking for that kind of spurt, more sustained, to get themselves a 10, 12-point leads and lose contact with Milwaukee. Milwaukee will try to control the tempo by running some pattern.
Brian Winters coming around the top as Ginelli goes down off to the weak side now. They're moving the big men back and forth inside. The rebound is taken away by Brian Winters nicely on the outlet pass. He intercepts. Ginelli fires up a shot. Not what you want your center to be taking, but he gets it down. It's a 2-point game. Seattle 46, Milwaukee 44. At Oakland, it is 66-38. Golden State leading Washington. John Johnson goes to the basket. Ginelli falls off, but they blow the whistle on John Ginelli.
John Johnson, really a good player at breaking people down with his back to him. You see right here, he works them over. He looks like he got a shoulder, and Ginelli does a little bit of acting. He got a timeout. Don Nelson wants to talk to his team about what they can do to get the lead in this basketball game.
Chief, where big game?
Big game in forest. Up mountain. Trail very steep. Better me take you.
Yeah. No, we're going to rough it. Ciao, Chief.
I think it's how, Harry.
Tough Chevy Blazer with available 4-wheel drive. It'll take you almost anywhere.
George, there's got to be a better way.
Blazer, the better way from Chevrolet.
Hop in.
Kimosabi. Chevy trucks built to stay tough.
All the guys that do commercials for light beer from Miller are big stars and guys like that. Me, I'm just a humble bartender, but I drink like 2. And I'll tell you why. It's less filling, it's got 1/3 less calories than a regular beer, and it tastes great.
Jerry, now that you're a big star, can I have your autograph?
Well, sure, Mr. Dangerfield.
Hey, would you like mine?
Not really.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
How about my initials?
From blazing heat to paralyzing cold, season after season, the J.C. Penney battery has the power to start your car over and over, year in and year out. And it never needs water, ever. It's so dependable, it's warranted for as long as you own your car. If it ever fails to accept and hold a charge, return it with proof of purchase. We'll replace it, free. It's the last battery your car will ever need.
Here we are back at the Kingdome. Seattle with a 2-point lead. It was tied 40-all at the half. 9:43 left to play now in the 3rd quarter. Kent Benson in his 2nd year from Indiana. Talking to a teammate of his from Indiana, Quinn Buckner, together on the NCAA championship team in 1976. As the Sonics put the ball in play, Williams throws it in to Dennis Johnson. Brian Winters playing off him. Johnson way outside. And here is John Johnson pulling up and shooting on Marcus Johnson. Rebound down to Buckner. On the run, here comes Milwaukee. We welcome our viewers watching Golden State and Washington. Seattle in white going on the break. Here comes Dennis Johnson following up his own missed shot with the rebound. And let's see what we have. We're going to have a call on Dennis Johnson. Seattle holding to a 2-point lead.
Oh, this is a ball right here. You'll see it goes up. Dennis Johnson gets the rebound. He doesn't have control. The ball bounces out. Eddie Middleton comes in and makes an excellent call right there, and then comes back with a quick whistle as Dennis Johnson objected, and they blow a technical. Brian Winters is going to get a chance at his 3rd point right now.
Game starting to heat up here at the Kingdome in Seattle. Brian Winters brings the Milwaukee Bucks back to within 1. It's 46-45. This game was tied at the half 40-all.
Middleton made a good call down there. The crowd has no complaint there. They didn't see it. He was on top of the play.
This is Don Criqui with Steve Jones at the Kingdom in Seattle. 9:13 to play in the third quarter, a one-point game. Milwaukee looking to take back the lead now. Here's Quinn Buckner up against Gus Williams. Benson coming out high, bringing Lagarde away from the basket, opening up the lane. Ginelli, who's been shooting from the outside, hits another now. He has 8 points. Leading scorers, Marcus Johnson with 16. He had those at the half.
Well, John Ginelli realized he's going to be in this game, so he's putting it up. He knows that they don't have too much over there on the bench to come off with. Taking advantage of that playing time. Dennis Johnson down in deep. Takes it right over the top of Brian Winters.
And the lead goes back to Seattle 48-47. Ginelli feeds off to Buckner. Working plays. The Milwaukee Bucks get it down low to their ace, Marcus Johnson. He has 18, and the Bucks take the lead 49-48.
The thing that's really made Marcus Johnson so tough so early in the season is he's really shooting well from the outside. He gets the ball down and deep, and he's almost impossible to stop, but he's been tough outside. Finger roll by Sigma. He must be watching Chamberlain someplace.
The Dipper used to score on that one, didn't he? A lot of times. It's 50-49 now. Again, the lead switches. The 6th lead change here as Seattle now takes a 1-point advantage, 50-49. Buckner directing traffic inside. They've got it opened up in the lane. Brian Winters spinning off from the baseline of the court and gets his jump shot. Winters now has 5 points all in the third quarter. Milwaukee again leads by 1. Lagarde comes over the top of Benson to tap it in. They're going to disallow the basket. Foul on Lagarde.
Wild and crazy guys, that's what they call him. You see Lagarde goes up, almost an automatic call. He looked like he outjumped Benson for the ball. Got the tap. The crowd doesn't like it. Ed Middleton again making the quick call. Milwaukee has the ball. Lenny Wilkins has a little bit to say about it. Of course, you can't tell by Lenny's face exactly what's going on in his mind.
Now Seattle gets the ball back and comes down running. Gus Johnson feeds off to Williams, tries to lead to Lagarde. Nobody home, and the ball is back over to Milwaukee. Down at Oakland at 72-42. Golden State over Washington. As we see Milwaukee holding to a 1-point lead here in the third quarter. 7:20 to play in it.
Well, Brian Winters, he's got to be part of the big story for Milwaukee, staying close and getting back in this game. They're trying to work to him right now.
Now Milwaukee on an errant pass in this connection. The turnover for the Bucks. In this game, Seattle has turned the ball over 12 times.
Turnovers for a running team are not uncommon. Seattle is a team that makes a lot of turnovers, but they want to keep the tempo of the game quick.
Rebound down to Marcus Johnson at 6'7". He leads the break. Dennis Johnson against him. And Marcus Johnson loops it over. Buckner gets a free shot from 15. Loose ball. Foul is signaled on the rebound. It's called against John Ginelli, who has a problem now. He has 5. One more and he sits down.
His problem is he'll be sitting on the bench. It's tough to play when you can't get in there and mix it up.
This is the first time this season Seattle's trailed in the second half.
Oh, no, he's home.
A kiss goodbye?
You must go. And besides, your beard, it's rough.
And I'll shave.
There's no time.
I'll use this Rise with 3 softness.
Rise will start to soak and soften my whiskers in no time.
See? Rise helps me get a close shave, quick.
You're smooth, Eddie, and so quick. Father, how about a close shave?
Rise for a quick, close shave. Willis Reed, basketball great, coach of the New York Knicks. You know what he does for excitement? He collects stamps.
U.S. commemoratives are a great way to start collecting, and they're really interesting. Stamp collecting is #1 on my list, after basketball, that is.
Collect U.S. commemoratives. They're fun, they're history, they're America.
You'll be building a collection your family will treasure for years.
Start your collection with the 1978 mint set of commemoratives at your post office now.
When it's party time and you need a good wine, Jacobazzi's spoken here.
Jacobazzi's the wine that will always bring the delightful flavor of Italy to your party.
Jacco is the wine that goes with everything.
Jacobazzi's tasty balance brings people together. Enjoy it in red, white, and rosé. So for good taste in any language.
Jacobazzi's spoken here, spoken here.
87-86 at the Forum in Los Angeles. Coach West a little upset with his Lakers these days.
Well, the Lakers could not score in 3 minutes and 40 seconds against San Diego, and San Diego lost the game. They're down at home. Jerry West can't be happy about that.
Coach West and the Lakers were staying at a hotel in Cleveland where there was an Arab prince who supposedly earns $15 million a day from oil. Somebody said to Jerry West, what would you do if you had that kind of money? He said, buy the Lakers and disband them. He was a little upset with his club at that point, but he'll come on. Jabbar is starting to play well. Gus Williams comes back down and puts it up, and the rebound is tipped out to Sickman. There's a whistle underneath. And Nelly doesn't like it, the Milwaukee coach.
Gus Williams, who has not made but one field goal, misses again. He really lost all of his shots. I mean, he was out in warm-ups and he was shooting with his eyes closed, making everything, and he can't buy a basket now.
Left it there. Here's John Johnson. They give him a free shot. Line drive, doesn't get it. And a loose ball foul to signal underneath on Jack Sikma. His first foul, and the ball turns over to Milwaukee. Golden State still holding to a 30-point lead over the Washington Bullets down at Oakland, 76-46 in the third quarter. You see the game clock here, 6:15 to play third quarter. A 1-point game at Milwaukee.
That kid is awful good, that Marcus Johnson. He's just doing anything he wants out there offensively. They're going to have to give Johnny Johnson some help.
He's got 20 now, does Marcus Johnson, and now Dennis Johnson has hit 14, the leading scorer this season for Seattle. And again, it's a 1-point game, Milwaukee. Grunfeld, 6'6", 225-pound forward, gets it over to Marcus Johnson. They're doubling up on him very quickly, very close to his own defense. Buckner puts it up, partially tipped. Sickman with the ball, lead to John Johnson, to Dennis Johnson. Williams on the left flank takes a look, and Johnson takes it all the way in. Some more guys on the deck.
A lot of bodies flying that time down. Dennis Johnson, he just splits the lane. You'll see him come right in here. Quinn Buckner trying to split that and make him force the ball up. The ball spins around, almost goes in, but comes off.
So Dennis Johnson goes to the free throw line now for Seattle. In the game for the Sonics, Johnson at the line, Gus Williams, Tom Lagarde, Jack Sikma, and John Johnson.
Coaches will always tell players, make them stop at the free throw line, stop them out high, so they'll have to give the ball up.
Johnson now has 15. And the game is tied at 53. Take his time and do it right. Gets them both, and Seattle is back in the lead by a point. 54-53. Marcus Johnson with 20 to the basket. He has 22. They can't do a thing with him.
Well, you can't stop them. They're trying to trap. Seattle is trying to trap. They're trying to force the game to be a little bit quicker and come up with some steals, and they haven't been successful.
Sikma working hard, bangs it off glass. Basket disallowed. They get Sikma on a charge. His second personal, no basket.
Well, Ed Middleton got run out of Seattle once before, and he may get run out tonight. Grunfeld comes over, does a pretty good job of getting set. Sikma takes it right over the top. They disallow the basket. Milwaukee has it, and they have a 1-point lead.
Clock here at Seattle shows 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter as Brian Winters pulls up and arcs in a high shot. He has 7.
Well, you got to give the guy credit. He went to South Carolina. They must have taught him something, because he's got that rap and he's got it going.
Played for Frank McGuire down there, the excellent program that McGuire brought to South Carolina basketball. Here now is Lagarde from North Carolina, feeding off to Gus Williams, and the loose ball taken off by Marcus Johnson. Gus Williams steals the ball, throws it to the wrong guy. Brian Winters and the Bucks head down the floor of the ball. Grunfeld takes his time and throws it down, and Milwaukee now with a 5-point lead. It's biggest of the ball game, 59-54, and Lenny Wilkins wants to talk this over. So we have a timeout on the floor. 4:28 left to play in the third quarter, and the Sonics, who've not trailed in the second half, down by 5 at the moment.
Take any razor available in America. Any razor. Now there's an electric shaver that will shave as close or your money back. The Remington XLR. Remington can guarantee a close shave because only Remington has this remarkable 3-part system. The first head shaves close, the second closer. The unique intercept cutter is designed to shave longer hairs. The Remington XLR. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back.
Now there's a breakthrough in large head racket design. A racket that looks big and plays big. The new Wilson Extra. It plays big. With a denser string pattern for solid control. It plays big. With a stiffer aluminum frame for extraordinary power. No other large head racket is bigger or plays bigger. The Wilson Extra. It's not just a big racket. It's a big game. Wilson. We're not #1 for nothing.
The big news for 79 is from Chevrolet. The new Chevy Monza 2+2 hatchback. More car for less money and a lot more kicks. Now, standard equipment includes tinted glass, AM radio, shift console, sports steering wheel, white striped tires, body side molding, bucket seats, carpeting, a hatchback, and more. All standard and all for less than what last year's Chevy Monza 2+2 would have cost with the same equipment. That's more car, more kicks for less money. New Chevy Monza.
Saturday at 4:30, CBS Sports Spectacular presents the Phoenix 150, which will determine the 1978 USAC driving champion. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Down at Oakland, that's what's going on right now. It's Golden State 82, Washington 54. Those of you who were watching that game before it became a blowout, you'll be seeing more of it. We'll be going back to it here at the Kingdome in Seattle. Milwaukee holding to a 5-point lead over an unbeaten Seattle team that previously hasn't been behind in the second half this season, 59-54. And the Bucks looking to get some more now as Grunfeld takes it down the baseline, works off the baseline of the court, and they disallow the basket and call Grunfeld.
Well, Grunfeld does what a lot of players normally do. He takes the ball on the drive here on the baseline. He gets a free pass. Then he bulls his way back in. The guard does a pretty good job of backing out. Seattle has the ball.
Milwaukee has shot 64% in the third quarter, 9 of 14 to get this 5-point advantage. The Sonics in white with the ball. Here's Tom Lagarde, who's come in from Denver in an off-season trade. 3-second violation signaled against the Sonics. Ball back over to Milwaukee.
Well, we've been making light of Brian Winter and the wrap around his leg. He is having some difficulty running, but he is an excellent shooter, and you can't expect him to go 0 for 10 in the second half.
Winters working real hard to get loose. He gets away from the defense. Lets her rip. Rebound to Gus Williams. And here comes the Sonic running game. 4 men on the fly. Sigma's down court. And it gets real tough now to get the ball inside.
Eddie Middleton's been doing a good job of being on top of the plays. He misses the travel here. Sigma handles the ball. He gets a little run there. Buckner's not set. Big Jack's going to go to the line. Fred Brown's going to come in. They're going to see if they can steady themselves up with a little bit more consistent offense as he's going to replace Gus Williams, who has not gotten any field goals.
Here is Mr. Jack Sigma at the free throw line. He gave a whole lot as a rookie out of Illinois Wesleyan. 6'11", 230-pounder. Sonic's first round draft pick last year. 8th player selected overall. Somewhat of a surprise pick, but the end result, he was on the NBA's all-rookie team following last season. Now Kevin Rastani is in the game for Kent Benson for Milwaukee. This is Rastani with the ball out of San Francisco.
The big bird flies again in Milwaukee. He's really happy to be back in Milwaukee. They doubled up on Marcus Johnson that time down.
Here comes the voice of experience back into the game. Freddie Brown along with Lonnie Shelton. Shelton, who was part of the compensation, came in from the Knicks for the signing of Marvin Webster, is averaging over 17 points a game for Seattle. Fred Brown takes down the rebound and starts it up court. 3:10 to go, third quarter. 5-point lead Milwaukee. We've not had a basket in a while. Down low it goes to Dennis Johnson, and a whistle and a foul.
Well, Fred Brown is leading this team in assists now. I really can't tell whether he's shooting the ball. Dennis Johnson is open right there. The ball came up a little short. He looked like he was in the act of shooting, but Johnson has a pass there, so he's got 3 for 2. Looked like a pass off. This is a tremendous offensive player. He's like an artist at work out there, and he just kind of goes with the flow. And offensively, he does whatever he wants. I think that he and Pete Maravich are probably the toughest guards in the league to check from the standpoint of trying to figure out what they want to do. Gervin and Gervin and David Thompson are great scorers, but it's easier to figure out what they're going to do. Brown and Maravich are just real tough to read.
Brown's remarkable the way he can get a shot off, seemingly with people hanging all over him, hands in his face. Fred Brown at the free throw line. Junior Bridgman has come into the game now for Milwaukee. 3-point game. Bucks in the lead. 59-56 is Junior Bridgman from Louisville. Back in the basketball game for the Bucks. Win Buckner moving on Fred Brown, pulling up from way out. No shot there. Here's Grunfeld. He's been going to the basket. Goes in on Shelton. Lonnie Shelton blocks the shot. Sickler gets the loose ball. We're going to have a foul call against Ernie Grunfeld, trying to get it back. He pushed somebody, and Grunfeld now has picked up 4 personals.
Oh, right there, you'll see Grunfeld. He's a little limited. He tries to take it in over a bigger Lonnie Shelton. He doesn't get it. He stays after it. He's all over the big fellow's arms. It's a good call by Richie Powers. 2:51 left in the game. Sigma has a chance to close this to a 1-point ball game. Milwaukee's 59-56.
Jack Sigma now with 14 points for the Sonics. Seattle with a big advantage in free throws. 15 free throws to 5 for Milwaukee. They made 15 to 21. Milwaukee 5 of 5. Penalty shot. 15 points for Sigma and a 1-point advantage now for Milwaukee. Their lead of 5. They haven't scored in a couple of minutes here, about 3 minutes. At a 59-54 lead, you recall. And here's Marcus Johnson. They're ready for him to do it. And he does.
When in doubt.
He's some athlete. I'm telling how good he's going to be. He's getting better all the time. Shelton forces a shot, and Marcus Johnson rips it off. He can get right down the other way with the ball at 6'7", good ball handler.
Well, Marcus Johnson can do one thing. He can get you a big defensive rebound. When that ball goes up, he has that jumping ability to really go up and take command.
2:06 left to play in the third quarter here at Seattle. Rastani gets the offensive rebound. Junior Bridgman helps him out, and the Bucks set it up again. Here's a technical now. Don Nelson protested something, and he was quickly called for a technical foul. Here's what he was protesting. We'll see in a moment. Right now, we're looking at Fred Brown shoot the free throw. That was the technical foul.
Well, the ball goes up, and you see the Big Bird doesn't really have control of. I think that's Paul Silas that crashes into him, and that's what Nelson was really unhappy about. Well, no one's happy when you give that money away, and he's standing up. He's still going to walk up and down the sidelines. Of course, he doesn't have the temperament of Dick Vitale, who is finding that life in the NBA is awful tough. He attacked the officials in Detroit.
He was. Vitale was in the hospital for 4 games. When his team won its first one, he'd been dismissed for 2 technicals.
He may never see them win.
Norm Van Leer back in the game now for the Milwaukee Bucks, along with Bridgman, Rastani, Grunfeld, and Marcus Johnson will inbound the ball. The Bucks holding to a 2-point lead, 61-59. 1:41 left to play in the third quarter. Marcus Johnson with 24 points, leading all scorers. Rastani fights for and gets the offensive board, gives Grunfeld a free shot. Grunfeld can't get it to go, but Rastani comes up with the ball again. Right back to Grunfeld. And again, Ernie Grunfeld can't hit it. And Rastani again going for the ball. And now Lenny Wilkins has got something to protest. A loose ball foul. Coach Nelson is up. Coach Wilkins has just sat back down, as you see. Both played a long time, 15-year NBA players, as Lenny Wilkins in his career and Don Nelson in his. Started out with the Chicago Zephyrs, Don Nelson, after leading the Big Ten in scoring at Iowa. Went to LA for 2 years. Then went to the Boston Celtics for 11 seasons, where he played on 5 NBA championship teams. It's tied up at 61 as Fred Brown has 16 points off the bench for Seattle. 1:20 as you see in the third quarter. Third period score, Marcus Johnson to the basket for Milwaukee. He has 26, and the Bucks are back in front by 2.
Well, Milwaukee has had trouble scoring from everyone else. Johnson has been the most consistent factor out there, and whenever they get in trouble, they go to him as Lonnie Shelton works down in deep.
Bridgman doubling up with Grunfeld on defense. Rebound is taken down by Grunfeld. Searches out the open man. He's not there down court, so the Bucks will set it up, and here's Van Leer to quarterback him.
Well, Stormin Norman, he's had it rough going. He's just trying to learn the plays here at Milwaukee, so you can't look for him to make too much of a contribution. Bridgman still has not made a field goal.
Sigma getting the ball out to Fred Brown, who leads it down quickly. Milwaukee shutting off that alley on the far side, and Sigma gets the ball. He's cut off by Bridgman, forces his shot, and Grunfeld out hustles the Sonics to the ball. Milwaukee has it back with a 2-point lead, and as you see, 27 seconds to go in the quarter, the third period.
Don Nelson's up. He wants him to take one shot, so they're going to use as much time on the clock as they can. Who do you think they're going to go to?
Marcus Johnson, that's their man. He gets the ball. He has 26 already. 10 seconds left and a foul underneath. A loose ball signaled against Milwaukee.
Well, Norm Van Leer, his contribution has been only fouls so far in that green uniform. He goes up. He's trying to do the right thing, gets inside, but he's out-jumped by a bigger man. Jack Sigma, and Sigma again is on the line. The thing that Don Nelson does not want to happen is happening. They have controlled most of the quarter, but Seattle's gotten most of their points from the line. They have gotten a lot of cheap points from the free throw line, and you cannot pull away from a team when you keep them at that charity stripe.
Free throws have been the difference in the scoring. 26 free throws for the Sonics, 5 of 5 for Milwaukee, but the Bucks still holding to a 1-point lead as Quinn Buckner is back on the floor for the Bucks.
Well, there's 10 seconds left in the period, so Milwaukee's going to get another shot. Of course, they probably would try and get the ball to Marcus Johnson.
We were tied at the half at 40. We're tied coming down the closing moments of the third period. Van Leer fires, gets it, and the Bucks with a 65-63 lead. Fred Brown puts it away as the buzzer sounds. So there is the score. Milwaukee 65, Seattle 63. That's the end of the third quarter. We'll return to the Seattle Kingdome after this word from your local station.
Sunday,
is trying to put me behind bars.
Kaz defends a baseball star, and Katie writes an article that could destroy his case. Kaz at a new time, Sunday at 9, 8 Central Mountain.
This is CBS.
Only in the business 6 months.
The guy that's making the pass, he's just been dropping down, and we've been rotating over, and we shoot. On the double team, just rotating.
I think the main thing is keep him on the baseline, okay? Keep him on the baseline. If he turns the corner, we'll all be in there. All right. Keep making him shoot that outside. That's all you can do. He's down so low, we're all in the corner anyway.
Third quarter.
No, you're doing all right, TV.
That Stenner's fast. I'll tell you one thing. If he put his mind to it, he could run a half an hour and 20 minutes.
Just like our 13A.
Bob's only available on days ending in Y. All right, we have Lenny Wilkins in the huddle with his Seattle Supersonics. We're ready for the start of the fourth period. 65-63, and Steve, this would pick up Milwaukee tremendously if they could ever win this one here at Seattle.
Well, anytime you can win a game on the road, that gives you a lift, and the condition that they're in, they would be especially happy. Winters has not had a good game. They got a little bit out of Benson. Quinn Buckner has not done too much, and they've got Gianelli down on the bench with 5 fouls.
Here's Marcus Johnson, 26 points through the first 3 periods. Bustani pulls up. Takes a shot, his first, and puts it down. It's a 3-4-point advantage now for the Bucks.
Well, Kevin Rustani is a good perimeter shooter, and they're going to have a little bit more pressure on him. They cannot let him shoot the ball uncontested from outside.
Shelton bumping inside with Van Leer, and they're going to call it on Norm Van Leer, his fourth.
Well, Norm has been in a short period of time, and in both appearances, he's gotten 2 quick fouls. The whistle again is blown on him. Seattle inbounds the ball.
We again welcome the fans who have just joined us here in Seattle. The Supersonics in white, the Milwaukee Bucks in green. The score 67-63 Milwaukee. 11:26 to play in the game. The Sonics with the ball. Fred Brown gets it to Lonnie Shelton. And down low to guard Dennis Johnson. Shelton trying to move away. Grunfeld stays with him. Milwaukee with a tight defense. Shot clock down to 1 as Johnson puts it in the air, and Grunfeld sweeps down the defensive rebound and gives it to Van Leer.
Grunfeld, although he's been limited inside, has done a good job on the defensive board, and he's gotten a lot of important rebounds to keep Seattle to only getting 1 shot.
He has. Grunfeld coming off the bench with the ball now. Moves away from Shelton, puts it up. Ball's rejected. No foul. Here comes Brown. On the right flank is Shelton. Tipped away by Van Leer. Back inbounds to Seattle.
Well, that time that ball should have come back to Milwaukee. You'll see Brown has the ball, touched off of him by Van Leer. It hits his knee and rolls out of bounds. Richie Powers missed that one.
Down to Freddie Brown against Van Leer. He's looking ready to pop. He hit hard in the second quarter. Has not had the opportunities here. Brown spins off. No basket. They call Fred Brown for travel prior to the shot. He doesn't like it.
Well, Fred Brown, when in doubt, you do what you do best. You'll see he's pinned down right here. His feet get tangled up. He takes it up with the left hand, gets it in the basket. He wanted that hoop. No satisfaction.
Rule number 1, you must bounce the ball when you advance it. 67-63 Milwaukee. Junior Bridgman fires, and Rustani with another offensive board. He's done a big job for Milwaukee. Marcus Johnson almost lost it. He's got 26. Leads all scorers in the game. Van Leer feeds off to Rustani. Lonnie Shelton, defensive board for Seattle. Sonics push it up quickly now. They're down by 4, 67-63. In their previous 6 games, all victories, they haven't trailed once in the second half. They have in this game, though, as they're down by 4 right now.
Well, the thing the Sonics want to do is just have some patience offensively. Lonnie Shelton gets the basket, the first of this half for him, and he's gotten most of his baskets for his 17-point average deep down on the lane. That was a good shot for him.
On the bench, Gus Williams getting set to come back in for Milwaukee. For Seattle, and for Milwaukee, Brian Winters, who matches up with him, getting set to come. Dennis Johnson makes a gallant effort at the ball, but could not control it. So now substitutes come in. Junior Bridgman goes out. Winters comes back in. Gus Williams comes back in. Dennis Johnson goes out for the Sonics.
Junior Bridgman did not get a field goal, and again, it must be said for him, he is injured playing with a badly bruised big toe, and it's tough for him to push off. He hasn't gotten any shots down. They expected some kind of offensive contribution from him, and they haven't got it, but Milwaukee does cling to a 2-point lead.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
There he is. Hey, you got here early. Al, 2 more low and brown. Low and brown. Well, isn't that what regional sales managers drink? You? You got it. I got it. You got it. You got it.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrau.
Congratulations, big shot. And I suppose you're going to forget your friends now? Probably.
Let it be Lowenbrau.
Think of the most professional-looking sound system you can imagine. Think of the ideal place to house it. You're thinking of one of JCPenney's remarkable new MCS series audio rack systems. Now, think of an incredible everyday saving of over $300 when you purchase any of these component systems as a package. JCPenney's MCS series audio rack systems. Think of the sound. Think of the service. Think of the savings. You won't have to think again.
The upsets, the comebacks, the heartbreakers, the record breakers. These are the moments that make sports spectacular. And this is where they happen. CBS Sports Spectacular. Saturday at 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular, you'll see the final race in the 1978 USAC Championship Series, the Phoenix 150, with Tom Sneva and Al Unser shooting for the USAC National Driving Title. You'll also see Challenge 4 in the World's Strongest Men competition. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
There is a final from the Forum in Los Angeles. Lakers 113, San Diego 101.
No place like home. The Lakers come back and they avenge that defeat they had down in San Diego.
Prince of Midair did it in down there.
Well, the Prince of Midair, he's been doing it. There's 9:20 left in this game. The score, Milwaukee's up by 2, 67-65.
96-71, Golden State leading Washington in the fourth quarter at Oakland. Here's Paul Silas, hands the ball off to Sikma. Guards work off him, that basic post offense. Sikma now turns, looks to the basket, and puts it up. Gets the roll. It's a tie game at 67. Jack Sikma gets 4 bounces and a hoop, and it's 67-67, the 8th tie of this game. Now Marcus Johnson heads in on Silas, puts it up over him. And the rebound is off to Lonnie Shelton. Up court to Fred Brown, loose ball out of bounds into Milwaukee.
Well, turnabout is fair play. Van Leer goes up. He handles this ball right here. Bounces off him. He's out of control. He pulled Fred Brown down and out of control. Milwaukee gets the ball. They got a chance to keep the lead.
Marcus Johnson off glass, doesn't get it, gets the rebound and heads back in. He's rejected. Getting up now. Shelton way up. Tied up at 67. We're in the fourth period. A low-scoring game as Brian Winters comes off with a missed shot by Jack Sikma. Milwaukee has a chance to go ahead again.
Sikma had a mismatch. He didn't really realize it. He took the shot, but he really wasn't ready to shoot the ball. Brian Winters came up with the big rebound. Again, they're working down in deep, trying to run some type of set play for Johnson down low.
An unlikely score for the fourth period, 67-67. Seattle coming in averaging 115 points a game with 100 to the opposition. They're outscoring their opposition by 15. Brown takes it inside, and again, the Sonics get the bounce. Seattle takes the lead, 69-67. Fred Brown has now scored 18 points for the Sonics.
Well, it's important that the Sonics control the tempo of the game down the stretch. Milwaukee has to keep in touch. They get a shot that time from Rastani. They're going through some other people to take some of the heat off of Johnson.
Gus Williams having an off night now has 6. And Seattle takes back the lead. 71-69, 7:07 to play in the game. And Milwaukee's going to call a timeout. They're really revved up here in Seattle as the Sonics trailing by 5. Come back now to take a 2-point lead with the score. 71-69. Seattle will return to the Kingdome after this word from their local station.
The CBS Saturday movie at 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain. John Wayne stars with George Kennedy in Cahill, U.S. Marshal.
Hold it!
This is CBS.
Bob, is this a primetime game in California?
No. They've 11:30.
Okay. Back at the Kingdome in Seattle, the Sonics with a 2-point lead, 71-69. We have 7:07 left to play in the game. At the half, it was tied 40-40. Milwaukee held to a 2-point lead at the end of 3 periods, and there is the attendance here at this big arena. 19,060. Little people like it, too.
Well, everybody's happy right now. Of course, anytime the home team's ahead, you're going to be happy. Seattle is leading the NBA in attendance, and their attendance is up over a year ago. And, of course, in this big, spacious Kingdom, they could well lead the NBA in attendance for the first year.
Right now, Golden State is leading Washington 100-77. That's in the fourth period down in Oakland, California. Marcus Johnson takes the rebound out to Grunfeld. And here comes Brian Winters, a double up on the ball, and he has no shot. Grunfeld puts one up. Deep fire out. Shelton with the ball.
Milwaukee has to get baskets someplace else other than Marcus Johnson.
Red Brown fires it inside, and Quinn Buckner muscles his way in front of Silas and takes the ball. Now the Bucks looking to work a play and tie up the game. It's 71-69 Seattle.
Seattle is sending everyone to Marcus Johnson. They know that he's the guy that they're looking for, so they're going to have to get some baskets from Brian Winters.
Marcus Johnson hasn't gotten one yet in the fourth quarter. He has 26 for the game. Shot clock down to 1. Brian Winters puts it up. Air ball. Restani gets the tip ball, puts it back up, taps it over, down to Marcus Johnson. Johnson ties the game at 71.
Well, Restani looked like he was shooting that ball to get the rebound. He got the tip to Johnson, and they got a tie game.
28 for Marcus Johnson, the NBA's leading scorer, who came in with a 31-point-a-game average, and now the ball goes back over to Milwaukee. Last touch by Shelton, and the Sonics might fall behind here if Milwaukee can hit it.
Well, you see the ball go up right there. Shelton just out-jumped him. He didn't have control of the ball. Milwaukee brings it up. Buckner's handling. Fred Brown is looking for some help from Richie Powers.
There's no help forthcoming from the officials. Marcus Johnson in the air and down. What a play.
You like that guy, huh?
What a player. What a player. 30 points for Marcus Johnson, and Milwaukee has the lead 73-71. Sigma feeds off Silas. Lost the handle. Last touch by a Buck.
Paul Silas is yet to score, and of course when he's most dangerous, when he's down and deep, Benson is coming in to give Restani a breather. They haven't gotten a basket from Paul Silas, and of course the Bucks would like to see him shooting the ball, but a little bit further out.
Benson has 8 points, got them all in the first period. Lonnie Shelton puts one up, and Marcus Johnson rips it off. 2-point lead Milwaukee. 73-71. We're down to 5 minutes to go in the game. Quinn Buckner looking down inside. Johnson goes down low. Silas against him. Brian Winters fires. Not enough there. Fred Brown with the ball. Taken back by Winters. Milwaukee's done a lot of that. Boy, the Sonics can get it back. Marcus Johnson gets a free one. No go. Sigma out to Gus Williams.
Well, the crowd was unhappy, and justifiably so. That time he just ripped the ball out of Fred Brown's hand. Lonnie Shelton really ran into Ernie Grunfeld. You see the final there on Golden State's game as Washington really took another beating. They'll be happy to get back to D.C.
Won't they? Lost by 19 here Wednesday night. Los Angeles Lakers won tonight, beat San Diego. Run down the other NBA finals that are in. They're all in now except for this one as Gus Williams heads to the basket. Puts it up, called for a travel. Ball is back over to the Milwaukee Bucks. We start down the stretch.
Well, you see Gus Williams, he makes a good move down the middle, pretty good penetrating move. Took a couple of quick steps right there to try and get it up. A good call. Milwaukee's handling. Buckner is looking in, trying to get some type of offense, and they've got to get someone else involved other than Marcus Johnson.
Ryan Winters gets it down low, works hard, but can't get it on the second try. Silas takes the defensive board, tipped away by Johnson. Winters didn't see the loose ball or would have had it. Gus Williams looks inside. Tip Williams gets it back at 6'3" and tries to go up, and the ball will come in down to Seattle.
Well, lots of tries. You'll see the ball go up. Williams, good job. He's a good leaper. He tries to get the ball. He doesn't have control. It's out of bounds. Seattle's going to handle it.
Fans getting worked up here in Seattle right now.
Well, you always get worked up when your team is behind.
By 2. There's a foul call. They call it jump ball. 102-83, the final number from Oakland, California. Golden State over the defending NBA champion Washington Bullets. Tipped by Benson is over to Ginelli. Milwaukee has a 2-point lead and the basketball. 4 minutes to go in the game. Marcus Johnson leading the Bucks in all scores with 30 points. Grunfeld has 8. Van Leer has 4. 7 for Brian Winters. 8 for John Gianelli. 8 for Kent Benson. Win Buckner, a high arcing shot, got it away just before the shot clock had elapsed. And now, as Milwaukee extends its lead to 4 points, 75-71, Lenny Wilkins calls his Sonics over to talk it over with 3 minutes and 34 seconds left to play in the game. We'll be back in a moment.
Here's how to get traction in bad weather and a smooth ride in good weather with one tire. Start with the body of a long-wearing radial with 2 steel belts for strength. Add a new computer-designed tread for traction on snow and ice. And a center rib so you ride smooth all year long. The Kelly Navigator Radial. Put it on, keep it on. Kelly Navigator Radials. They'll get you through. Kelly Springfield. We're out to change America's tires.
This is it!
America, if you want a good-looking, full-size wagon with a handy door gate that opens 3 ways.
This is it!
And this is it.
This is it!
With twin lockable storage compartments.
This is it!
Push-button seat conversion.
This is it!
Plus gas mileage you can feel real good about. This is it. The new generation Chevrolet. In just 2 years, America's best-selling wagon. See and drive it at your Chevrolet dealers now.
Saturday at 4:30, CBS Sports Spectacular presents the Phoenix 150, which will determine the 1978 USAC driving champion. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
The longest home court winning streak in the NBA in jeopardy right now. The Sonics have won their last 16 in a row here in Seattle, but right now, as you see, they're down to Milwaukee 75-71, 3:34 to play in the game. Washington, the only club to beat Seattle at home since last February, and that, of course, in the playoffs. 3:34 left to go. Gus Williams brings it inbounds to Fred Brown.
Plenty of time remaining for the Sonics to get control of the basketball game, but they must have better offensive execution.
Lonnie Shelton busting people down inside, puts up a second shot, and it's tipped by Lagarde. It's a 2-point game, Milwaukee. And Brian Winters took a shot down low, and his right thigh that's heavily taped. Walking that off now as trainer Tony Spino comes out.
Well, you see Shelton takes the ball up right there. We don't see the injury for Winters. He's already out over here on the right side of your picture. He's already out. He's probably gotten hit earlier. He's taking a shot, and he's limping. They need him in the basketball game. Even though he has not scored much, he is a threat, and there's always a chance that he's going to make a shot, even though he's having a poor shooting.
Fine young forward for the Milwaukee Bucks. Dave Myers out for at least a month with a back injury, and let's watch here. California. Golden State over the defending NBA champion Washington Bullets. Tipped by Benson is over to Gianelli. Milwaukee has a 2-point lead and the basketball. 4 minutes to go in the game. Marcus Johnson leading the Bucks in all scores with 30 points. Grunfeld has 8. Van Leer has 4. 7 for Brian Winters. 8 for John Gianelli. 8 for Kent Benson. Win Buckner, a high arcing shot, got it away just before the shot clock had elapsed. And now, as Milwaukee extends its lead to 4 points, 75-71, Lenny Wilkins calls his Sonics over to talk it over with 3 minutes and 34 seconds left to play in the game. We'll be back in a moment.
Here's how to get traction in bad weather and a smooth ride in good weather with one tire. Start with the body of a long-wearing radial with 2 steel belts for strength. Add a new computer-designed tread for traction on snow and ice. And a center rib so you ride smooth all year long. The Kelly Navigator Radial. Put it on, keep it on. Kelly Navigator Radials. They'll get you through. Kelly Springfield. We're out to change America's tires.
This is it!
America, if you want a good-looking, full-size wagon with a handy door gate that opens 3 ways.
This is it!
This is it.
This is it.
With twin lockable storage compartments,
This is it.
push-button seat conversion,
This is it.
plus gas mileage you can feel real good about.
This is it.
The new generation Chevrolet. In just 2 years, America's best-selling wagon. See and drive it at your Chevrolet dealers now.
Saturday at 4:30, CBS Sports Spectacular presents the Phoenix 150, which will determine the 1978 USAC driving champion. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
The longest home court winning streak in the NBA in jeopardy right now. The Sonics have won their last 16 in a row here in Seattle. But right now, as you see, they're down to Milwaukee 75-71, 3:34 to play in the game. Washington, the only club to beat Seattle at home since last February, and that, of course, in the playoffs. 3:34 left to go. Gus Williams brings it inbounds to Fred Brown.
Plenty of time remaining for the Sonics to get control of the basketball game, but they must have better offensive execution.
Lonnie Shelton busting people down inside, puts up a second shot, and it's tipped by Lagarde. It's a two-point game, Milwaukee. And Brian Winters took a shot down low, and his right thigh that's heavily taped. Walking that off now as trainer Tony Spino comes out.
Well, you see Shelton takes the ball up right there. We don't see the injury for Winters. He's already out over here on the right side of your picture. He's already out. He's probably gotten hit earlier. He's taking a shot, and he's limping. They need him in the basketball game. Even though he has not scored much, he is a threat, and there's always a chance that he's going to make a shot, even though he's having a poor shooting.
Of course, fine young forward for the Milwaukee Bucks. Dave Myers out for at least a month with a back injury, and let's watch here right now.
Right there, you'll see that he does. He does appear as he pulled it on his own. And Brian Winters is down.
Saturday afternoon here on CBS at 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central and Pacific. It's the CBS Sports Spectacular. Live coverage of the Phoenix 150. A shootout for the USAC National Driving Championship between Al Unser and the defending champion Tom Sneva. For Al Unser to win the national title, Sneva must finish worse than 10th, and Unser must win the race. You've got to consider that in these races there are usually 60 to 70% breakdowns of the machines. And then World's Strongest Men competition. The event is the car lift. Our director here tonight, Tony Verna, directing that, and he tells us that Jack Benny's Maxwell is one of the items that was picked up by these big fellows. Bob Stenner, our producer. Big Sten here in Seattle. That's tomorrow afternoon, 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central and Pacific, the CBS Sports Spectacular. .317 left to play in the game. Milwaukee 75, Seattle 73. And of course the National Football League now moving into its 9th weekend of play in the 78 season with regional action Sunday on CBS. The Cardinals and the Eagles meet at Philadelphia. San Francisco is at Washington. The Detroit Lions at Chicago. The Giants meet the Saints at New Orleans. Tampa Bay goes against the Packers at Green Bay. Consult your local listings for the game and time in your area. All the action beginning with the NFL Today pregame show with Brent Musburger, Jane Kennedy, and Irv Cross. Here at the Kingdome with Steve Jones, this is Don Crickey. 3:04 to play. Milwaukee holding to a 2-point lead. Marcus Johnson gives it to the Bucks down the stretch. He has 32.
Well, when you want someone to dance with, look for Marcus Johnson. He's really doing it all. He's keeping the pressure on Seattle. They've got to score. They could look for Fred Brown to get some baskets.
Seattle trying to get the ball in. Now Freddie Brown sees that long open shot and he says thank you very much and pops it. 20 points for Fred Brown. And again a 2-point advantage for Milwaukee as time is becoming a factor. 2.5 minutes to go. This might not be over at the end of that regulation.
Well, the important thing that you look for in the final 2 minutes, Brian Winters gets the basket, is you look for players that want to take the shot in a close basketball game. Fred Brown is one. Marcus Johnson is another. Brian Winters is another. Gus Williams is another.
John Nelson and John Killeley shouting out instructions to their Milwaukee Bucks for the defense.
Tom Lagarde says, I'll take it.
Yep. Milwaukee is dropping way up. They want to shut off that lane in the inside game, and on subsequent trips down the court. The Sonics have drilled the long shot. Brown hits it. And then Lagarde. Here's a whistle that stops play with 1:46 to go. Foul call is going to go on. Looks like Paul Silas.
35, that's what they call him up here, Paul Silas. He's trying to keep Johnson away from the basketball. That time Richie Powers caught him.
Milwaukee playing a controlled game, looking for percentage shots. Silas trying to deny the ball from the game's leading scorer, Marcus Johnson. And here's a whistle inside. It's going to go against Milwaukee. The ball turns over to Seattle.
Marcus Johnson trying to get position down and deep. He got called for pushing off. 35 must be doing something. He's not too old yet.
Winters gets his second foul. You must remember now, in the last 2 minutes of the game this year in the NBA, a foul away from the ball, and the shooting team can pick a shooter. That means you can't just foul a bad free throw shooter. They can send their best guy out to put it down. Lonnie Shelton goes up. Lonnie Shelton knocks it down. The game is tied at 79 with 1:20 left to play. Don Nelson on his feet, holding up his fingers. 8. He's calling the number 8 play. I think that might mean Marcus Johnson. That's the number he wears. Giannelli almost lost it as we come down close to a minute to play in regulation. The game tied. Quinn Buckner working hard inside. Fight for the ball. Buckner gets it. Winters takes the shot. Will not go. Silas with the rebound. Up court to Fred Brown. The Gus Williams to Silas. Right back to Williams. Over to Lonnie Shelton. Crashing inside. There's a foul call.
Oh, you see right there. The ball comes to Lonnie Shelton. He's got one idea, get as close to the basket as he possibly can. Kent Benson is going to be nothing but a roadblock in his way. He clobbers him. Shelton's on the line. You got to take your chances with him shooting free throws.
If we go to OT, Milwaukee has a history in recent seasons of playing very well in extra sessions. Last year they set an NBA record, winning 8 overtime games out of 9 they played. Right now we have a 79-79 score on the board. 48 seconds left to play. And here's Don Nelson. Let's listen to him.
Inside 43, no matter what it is. Spread it, okay? Same thing we did out in San Diego. Spread it out. 43A, whoever the guard takes, either Ernie or Mark. Okay? 43A. You're going to draw somebody if you get it in there. So it's either going to be one hell of a fake, draw the foul, or you're going to have to kick it out and find the guy. Don't be bashful if you're open.
Listen, okay, when we stop them, okay, we come down the court. All right, Tommy?
Get that camera out of here.
I told you didn't want you in the house.
Our man is not welcome at the moment as the Sonics